folks, welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a little dive into a couple of routes that I've laid out to try and bring people to a better understanding of how things are and how things could be, and if we continue to go down one path, what we're not probably going to be able to do. Before we dive into that, we have had some funds suddenly show up in the community pool, and I mentioned recently in a previous video that there are funds missing. There are funds that have not been used by the L1 specifically. That's been returned by LBA, frag, people like that. Those funds are still floating about, and I don't think this is those funds. These have come from Ed and Marco. I have confirmed this. It's just been sent back. Now, is this enough to solve all of our financial problems? No, it's not. So, you know where this has come from now. You know where it's appeared from. And honestly, we need a serious amount of inflow to happen. It's either that or the price needs to run by 1, 2, 3x. Something crazy like that needs to happen. So let's go over to this flowchart. I've got route A and I've got route B. So route B is where we are currently. Now, something to take note of with the USTC quant team is their current spend proposal is 2 of 2. So I guess what that means is this is the final spend prop. Now, I myself have concerns because I don't understand how everything that's going to repeg USTC is all going to happen within the next month. I think there's going to need to be a lot more time and a lot more money spent on the quant team and what they're doing if they are to do a successful repeg, because we've got all of the leakage of the USTC in the Oracle rewards pool. Okay, that's going to take some time to get the community's heads around to removing that and replacing that commission with just simply LUNC. There's going to be a lot of unhappy people that they're not getting their USTC commission anymore. The thing is, USTC commission's not always been part of the commission. Okay, it's something that's relatively new. You can go and speak to the old guard. You can ask them. They'll give you the aspect as best as they can. Sorry about my voice. I'm really under the weather, folks. So, like I was saying, route B. In both of route A and route B, you have got the quant team. But like I was saying, if they are saying this is 2 of 2, you can more or less remove them from these routes. Okay, but what I'm doing is doing devil's advocate, and I'm playing it worse for the worst, because what I understand is more time needs to be put in by the USTC quant team. I don't understand how this is 2 of 2, and we're not even close to getting a repeg, if that makes sense. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Now, route B is where we currently are. We're paying Hexagon $40,000 per quarter to run wallet infrastructure, upkeep that wallet infrastructure, and provide endpoint infrastructure. We've got the L1 team taking $110,000 per quarter, and then the quant team themselves taking $60,000 a quarter if they was to remain as a paid team going past 2 of 2. Playing devil's advocate here, not saying that's what they're going to do, not saying that's what they are or anything like that. I'm simply just walking two possible routes in my head. But what we do know, route B is currently how it is. So something that's happened recently is TFL has started to update legacy again. This is really good for us because ultimately we're getting our free infrastructure up. We're getting it running and it's working. They don't want to hand it back. That much is clear. So obviously they want to keep updating it. We've had a developer allocated to the legacy side of things, which is an even better sign. So on the left-hand side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these to the middle. What we've got here is the quant team. We've got the L1 team, which puts us at $110,000 to $170,000 per quarter. Route B is $210,000 a quarter. That's almost $250,000 per quarter to run this chain. What we could do is just utilize the free infrastructure that everybody utilizes and moans about anyway. That seems to be getting better. We seem to be getting everything back. And I just think if we start to have a development team that can put in PR requests for what they would like doing to legacy, I'm sure those PR requests would get addressed by this new development team. Now, what do you do? Do you use route A or do you continue to use route B? Do we use the free wallet infrastructure, utilize that and reduce our running costs? Then we also utilize the free endpoint infrastructure that is provided to us by all nodes. What do we do at this point, right? What route is going to allow us to have these three things in the middle, because it definitely isn't route B. It looks like route A to me. The reason why is that extra money you would save would lead to so much development. My first port of call out of everything would not be these two. It would be this. The reason being is you can completely become solely independent. You wouldn't need to rely on all nodes. You wouldn't need to rely on third-party infrastructure. You would never need to rely on any kind of RPC, LCD, RCD ever again. Okay, it would just simply be an archive node. It would be around 20% of what the running load is currently. That other 80% would just be wiped out and spread across the active set. Bish, bash, bosh. Cross the T's, dot the I's, you're done. Done forever. No one's coming back. No one's having to address it again. No third parties trying to come in, get involved and say, hey, you need to pay us for this infrastructure. So my biggest issue with everything right now is the lack of consideration by people who are taking money from the blockchain. The simple fact that there are financing issues, they're not addressing them, and instead they're just more or less ignoring them, continuing ahead. Whereas anybody who was responsible and cared about this chain would simply go to themselves, hey, you can't afford this right now. What you guys need to do is go and use the free infrastructure provided to you by TFL. And hey, all nodes also give you free endpoint infrastructure. You should utilize those. And what we'll do is we won't take any more money from this chain because we know you can't afford it and the chain's going to die if we keep doing this. But you're not seeing that, right? You're not seeing these people come forward because each one of these teams is more or less committed to the idea of the chain is dying. And it's not. It's dying because of attitudes like that, because of behavior traits like that are in this blockchain, this nuclear kind of behavior. So what I'm putting here in front of people is simply two routes of where we could be and where we are. Okay, everybody knows this to be true. Everybody knows this to be what is currently going on. We don't have any of these L2 teams or marketing teams, which we so desperately need. Instead, we're just consistently paying for our neighbor's house to be built and then maintained. And once the chain's gone, we will have paid for it to get loaded up on a lorry and shipped off to the next blockchain. It's one of those ones, they're not going to be here when the chain dies, right? My biggest worry is these people simply do it for money. It's not because they love the chain. It's because they need a paycheck. They need something to hold on to. And it's very, very inconsiderate of all of these people because you're just not giving anything back to this chain. In fact, you're taking from it. You're not addressing this situation and saying to yourselves, hey, look, a lot of people just simply don't trust us. Yeah, there's a niche market that's using our applications. But if we look at the data where legacy just came back online, compare that to our data, the legacy data is off the charts. As soon as it came back online, everything's gone through the roof again. And it just goes to show how many people used legacy. And that data was provided to me by Straff Cole. You know, what reason does he have to say to me, hey, have you seen the legacy infrastructure technicals? Have you seen the data? Have you seen everything? And I said to him, yeah, it looks really good. Everything's starting to go back up, you know? He's like, well, it goes to show how many people do use this kind of infrastructure. So what I would like to see for the next quarter is a reduced running cost. So for example, right, say it is 2 of 2 and they can pull all of this repeg off. They're going to repeg it to $1 within the next month. And this is simply just a 2-month thing. Well, then your running cost goes down to $110,000, right? So then you're looking at a reduced cost of almost 50%. A 50% save in running costs by utilizing free infrastructure we all have been moaning about, and utilizing the free infrastructure all nodes have always provided to us. Now, something that really scares me, and I didn't notice it until recently, is when I went back and looked at all nodes more or less handing the torch to people like Terra Vita and Terra Rebels. It was like a forced thing of like, you know, you're centralizing all the power. You've got control of everything. And it's like they didn't have control of anything whatsoever. And it's they never charged us for us. They never did any of that. And we were always put under the pressure by people like Terra Vita is, hey, we're going to provide endpoint infrastructure. Hey, we're doing it ourselves. And hey, we're going to provide this for free until we reach a 3 billion market cap. Well, turns out that was all crap. And All Nodes was providing that infrastructure. And all they were doing was literally hiring it from All Nodes and then putting their name on it. It's ridiculous that so many people have fought for the end nodes, and now a team finally have them. They finally have them secured, and they've got you where they need you, where every time the system goes down, what is going to be recommended, what's going to be suggested. Exactly. And it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be forced into using something you simply don't trust because you've got no other options. And the worst thing about all of this is like, I'm a bad person because I'm suggesting, we should reduce our running costs, reduce our infrastructure, and actually treat this thing not so much like a business, but with a business mindset of actually being mature and going, hey, we can't afford this. Hey, we could reduce our costs by 50%, but hey, we're not going to because, we don't want to upset people. And it's at a point now where if you vote, for example, no on something, that's it, you're done. You're going to get hounded by all of those people. They're going to tell you need to change your vote. You're going to be lobbied. You're going to be swayed, and you're going to become scared. You're going to become scared to even vote no or abstain or go against anything in the future for the simple fact that you don't want to get screwed at by everyone. You don't want to get screamed at. You don't want to get targeted by all of these people that do these kinds of things. And when people don't fall in line and don't do what they want, what do? Oh, they go around doxing people. Oh, surprise, surprise. I think this is really important. I thought this was a good video to get out there for everybody. I have got a podcast uploading, so keep an eye out for that one. It will be up shortly, coming after this video. Other than that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and I'll catch you in the next one.